Sure. Good evening, everyone. A bit of housekeeping. If anyone's joining online, if you're not speaking, if you could put yourself on mute so we don't hear any feedback, I think everyone will be able to hear a lot better. So anyone joining us online or by phone, if you're not speaking, please put yourself on mute. With that said, on behalf of the Florida Department of Transportation, we'd like to thank you all for the opportunity to update you on the Wekiva Parkway this evening. We'll provide you with some brief overall project information and then focus on the Section 5 landscaping and other details that we know you're most interested in. With us tonight, virtually for this meeting, our FDOT District Construction Engineer, John Tyler. I believe if you're online, you can see him on the screen, as well as FDOT Consultant Project Manager, Ashraf El-Maghrabi, Consultant Project Manager for Section 5, Kathleen Rivera, Consultant Landscape Architect, Joan Randolph, and a few other staff members as well. And also, Ty Garner, also with FDOT. We understood that Lake County may be joining us this evening. Do we have any Lake County officials on that would like to be recognized?
Mary, I'll make a note here just to say that I just got off the phone with Fred Schneider and he is attempting to join us, so he should join in progress.
Okay, great. So Lake County Public Works Director Fred Schneider is hopefully going to be able to join us shortly. So I'm Mary Brooks, and I've been, oh great. Go ahead, Fred.
No, just letting you know I'm on. Okay,
very good. Thank you. Welcome. So I'm Mary Brooks of the Communicating with the Community for this project since 2004. In the last couple of years, many of you also have communicated with my colleague, Nick Lully. Say hey, Nick.
How's it going?
So we ask that you all save your questions to the end. We've got a lot of information for you tonight, and we think a lot of it will address some of those questions. And then we will have a question and answer session as well. So you will get the chance to ask anything that we don't cover in the presentation. As Nick mentioned, we'd like to remind you that the presentation is being recorded so that everyone can refer back to it for your convenience. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to John Tyler to start things off.
All right, thank you very much, Mary. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing us to join your meeting. We're glad to be here tonight to give you an update about the Wekiva Parkway and County Road 46A. Safety is FDOT's top priority in everything that we do, and that also includes what we're doing here tonight, attending this meeting virtually. We're doing it for everyone's safety. Everyone has an opportunity to attend this meeting virtually, and again, we're doing that for your safety. We perform these meetings in this manner all across the state. We are committed to hearing from this community, from the Red Tail folks. And this won't be the only opportunity for you to communicate with us tonight. We will be available after this meeting to meet with you one-on-one, either at your home or out in the field or on the phone, whatever is most convenient and most desirable to you. So I do want to stress that it is our intent and desire to communicate as much as we can during this time of social distancing. So again, I am the district construction engineer. I'm responsible for the oversight of all of the construction projects for FDOT in Central Florida. That includes the Wekiva Parkway projects, all of them, including the one that we're going to be discussing tonight. So what we're going to discuss tonight very quickly is a brief overview of where all of the Parkway projects currently stand. Then we're going to get very specific to the completion of Section 5, the County Road 46A realignment. And we'll talk about the proposed landscaping. It looks like Section 5 is complete, but we're not quite done yet. Most of the road work has been completed, but there's still more work to do, including the closure of Droddy Springs Road, as well as the installation of landscaping. Both of those two efforts will be completed by separate contractors as we move forward. So we'll be talking about the landscaping, showing you what we have in store, and then we will conclude with any answers to to the questions and concerns that you may have. Again, I want to thank Fred Schneider with Lake County for joining us tonight. District 5, Florida DOT, and Lake County have a long partnership in the delivery of this project. Goes back to 2013 and earlier, and we appreciate
it. Be somewhere else, honey. Seriously.
So with that, I'll turn it back over to Mary to move on with the presentation.
So we just want to give you a quick big picture view of how you can see how the 25-mile Wekiva Parkway is filling the Beltway's missing link. This long-awaited project has been providing travel alternatives already and ultimately will enhance safety, relieve traffic congestion on roads like US 441 and State Road 46. And in fact, we're already seeing this on some local roads. So here's the cliff notes on the project. The $1.6 billion parkway is being developed jointly by the Florida Department of Transportation, the Central Florida Expressway Authority, and the Florida Turnpike Enterprise. One of the big things here is that there are non-tolled service roads, non-toll road improvements as part of the project. So folks will still be able to get from Sanford to Mount Dora along the service roads without having to pay a toll if they choose. It features all electronic tolling, so you want to be sure to have your ePass and SunPass, and there are significant economic development impacts from this project. So everyone's familiar with the natural gem that we have in the Wekiva River Basin. Very important that the agencies have been following the 2004 Wekiva Parkway and Protection Act, and there's significant were previously unprecedented moves as part of this legislation. We have purchased 3,400 acres of conservation. There are about a mile and a half of wildlife bridges, and they also have limited interchanges. So here you can see the overall schedule for the Wekiva Parkway. Left column shows you the various parkway sections. Orange bars represent the design. Purple represents property acquisition. Both of those stages are complete. And of course, we are well into construction with the overall project slated at this point to finish in 2023. So this overall project map is also available on wekivaparkway.com. It shows you each of the sections. The ones in green haven't been done and being done by FDOT. The ones in purple done by CFX. We've got 13 miles of the parkway open currently, which you can see indicated in those highlighted in yellow. You can see in the upper left corner, the department very shortly will be opening sections 3A and 3B in the Mount Dora area. Those are non-tolled improvements to State Road 46 and 441 with widening. Basically, the plan is to open a new section of the parkway every year until we get to 2023. So a little bit of information about some of the sections adjoining yours and that you probably travel through also. Here we've got section 6, which is the longest section. It's about 6 miles long, started in 2017, looking to finish sometime 2021. This is a section that if you're leaving the Redtail community, you're driving on portions of the new service roads that parallel the new parkway in this area. You're driving over some of the wildlife bridges, which you see indicated by these yellow icons. So information you need to know about this project coming up is that we will be shifting traffic onto the final wildlife crossing west of State Road 429 by the end of this year, 2020. This will take traffic off the temporary metal bridge, which we refer to as the Acro Bridge. Also on the eastern end, we will start to shift traffic into a roundabout on State Road 46 in the area of Osprey Hammock Trail in early 2021. So some big moves coming as we continue to progress through the project. Section 7A basically goes from near Longwood Markham Road along 46 to just about Orange Boulevard. This, as you can kind of tell from the map, will include roundabouts as well as a number of bridges, as well as non-tolled service roads. So traffic, again, on this section will be splitting between eastbound and westbound, so we can really focus on building that parkway in the center and tying into Section 6. And this will be happening later in the coming months as well. Section 7B is the last non-tolled road improvements to State Road 46. It goes from about Orange Boulevard to just shy of I-4 at Oregon Street. and Wayside Drive. This started last year and is scheduled to finish in 2021. And in the next couple of months, you'll see traffic shift to the south side of State Road 46 in this area, and that'll allow us to widen the westbound travel lanes. Section 8. Section 8 is the interchange with I-4 and State Road 417, which will actually finish the beltway around Central Florida. This section started in This section started in 2018 and scheduled to finish in 2023. We are preparing for some traffic shifts on the State Road 417 and I-4 ramps. So you'll want to definitely pay attention to the signage in this area if you travel through here for some changed access points in the future. And we'll have lots of signage, and we'll be putting out information about that as well, because your decision points will likely change. So the department has a long history of communicating with the county and the community on this Section 5. We've had numerous briefings with your community managers and a full HOA over the years. There were more than 10 public meetings and hearings during the PD&E study. We've also had a number of meetings since design, and the roadway plans are the same since that last public meeting was held in May of 2017. So while it's anticipated that County Road 46A at some point will be a 4-lane road, the department has elected to build the lanes farthest away, which will be the ultimate northbound lanes, from the community first. And that was intentionally to lessen the impact to the community. We've got the right of way to widen the road to 4 lanes when that is necessary based on future traffic demands, but the projections don't show that will be needed for many years. Also, to lessen the impacts to the community, where County Road 46A comes closest to the homes on Estates Ridge Drive, FDOT depressed or lowered a section of the road below ground level. The department also left a minimum 50-foot and in many cases closer to 100-foot wide treed or forested buffer between the homes and the new road. So now I'll turn it over to my colleague, Nick Lully, to discuss some of your concerns and what's coming up next in your area. Nick?
Thanks a lot, Mary. So as many of you know, driving the area, living near it, that realignment of 46A did happen last year in last October. Now, as Mary kind of touched on before, the Wekiva Parkway and Protection Act was a key piece of doing this whole thing, and that actually required the realignment of the road out of the Seminole State Forest, and that was to actually reduce conflicts with wildlife. Now, this also includes part of the Parkway Trail along 46, and you see that there near the intersection there where that traffic signal is, and a trailhead is being built as a separate project. You may also be seeing that start to progress as you drive along there along the south side of 46 near your community. Now, the department wanted residents to also know that we do not own those 2 parcels that are adjacent to the retention pond that we built to hold stormwater for this project, and that's near the golf course, so that's on the east side of one of the fairways there. And there is potential for future development in that location based on the local land use rules and also the private property owners' decisions. Now, the next steps for this project, now that we have the roadway realigned, and this is what we're basically here to talk about tonight, is this robust landscaping project that is going to start kick off in fall of 2020. Now, this landscaping is being done as part of a larger project that is also landscaping section 3A and 3B down 46 in Mount Cora. Now, this is expected to be about a 9-month to a year process. And after all those trees are in, there's actually a 2-year warranty period where the landscaping contractor will actually still be responsible for maintaining a lot of that landscaping. So here is a look at the profile plan sheet for the landscaping enhanced plans that we developed, and I'm going to toss it over to John Tyler to talk a little bit more about this.
All right, thank you, Nick. So as Nick and Mary have mentioned, the department is committed to lessening the impact to the red tail community by the realignment of 46A. Several strategies have been employed to do that. We've lowered the profile where we were able. We've maintained existing trees where we were able. One area that we need to do some more work is around the pond. That's the low area of the project. We weren't able to lower the road in that area, but we do have a plan for a very robust landscaping plan that's going to be going in as we move into the fall. We had a unique opportunity as the main roadway work finished up. We were able to go out with our landscape plans and actually stand on the new ground and look at the lay of the land and make sure that we were covering all of the points where the roadway and the homes could potentially be visible. And we identified gaps in the landscaping that we were intending to install. Over the last month or so, we've been identifying those gaps, and we've been revising our landscape plans based on what we're seeing out in the field, so that we can ensure that we're doing as much as we can to lessen the impact on this community. So the plans that you're seeing tonight are actually still in development. We haven't shared these revised plans yet with Lake County or with the community, but we will once we believe that we have completed our revisions. We want to share that with both the community and the county and make sure that we have addressed everyone's concerns. And that should be happening over the next couple of weeks. Nick, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, John. So as part of this preparing for this meeting tonight, obviously not always looking at a plan profile gives you the full picture. So we actually developed some graphics here that depict what these trees will look like after they're installed, and then in approximately 10 years once they've matured a bit and added some height and fullness to them. So this is the view looking west from County Road 46A toward the Red Tail Golf Course. So that's looking across our pond towards your community. This is the view at the time of planting. So basically, this is what it's going to look like with all those trees laid out there once that 9-month to a year period is over after this kicks off in the fall. So the next slide will show you, this is in approximately 10 years. Again, once these trees have matured a bit, you can see really once they become full, how robust of a tree canopy it really becomes. And again, this is looking west from 46A toward the Red Tail Golf Course. This is a little bit north of the point that last graphic was done. So this is looking southwest from 46A toward the Red Tail Golf Course. This is at the time of planting, what those trees will look like. And another look at in 10 years, again, once they've matured a bit, this is the view looking southwest from 46A toward Red Tail. And our next view, this is looking from the fairway at the Red Tail Golf Course that is immediately closest to our stormwater retention pond. So this will be looking east from Red Tail toward 46A at the time of the landscaping being planted and completed. And again, this is in 10 years time, what you'll be looking at from that fairway there on the Red Tail Golf Course.
Hey, Nick, can I just jump in to back you up on that? If you folks who are looking at that plan sheet, you'll notice that it's hard to tell from the renderings, but the heights of some of these trees are going to be significant when they go in, anywhere from 7, 8, 10 feet tall to as much as 20 feet tall minimum. So they may look smaller in the rendering, but we're talking about some significant size trees that the department is planning to install. Thanks, Nick.
Very good. So before this presentation kicked off here in this preceding week, we did get some questions in, some of which we were able to put in here and some of which we can display at the end on a list that I received. But these were just some of the questions that we received that we were able to put some answers in for you tonight. So one of the questions was an earth berm or a sound wall possible? Now, a noise study was done during the PD&E study phase long before construction kicked off. And so affected properties for that process, they must meet a federal criteria to be feasible for a sound wall. Another point is sound walls are only effective for reducing noise for properties that are closely behind them. And this location did not meet the criteria for a sound wall. Of course, we're always looking at ways to curb impacts to the community whenever we're doing a transportation improvement project. and that includes earth farms. Ultimately, that was not deemed feasible in this case. Instead, we chose enhanced and robust landscaping as the best way to address some of the noise and site concerns that were shared by some residents during those public meetings. So the question was, were statutes for land use planning and control followed? And so in this case, local governments have jurisdiction over land use planning. FDOT followed state statute in relocating County Road 46A, as it was required by the 2004 Wekiva Parkway and Protection Act that governed this project. All applicable permits were obtained for this project, and the FDOT public involvement guidelines were followed leading up to this construction process. Now, that included extensive coordination with Lake County on the ultimately recommended alignment during the PD&E study, in addition to those community and public meetings that we've been mentioning throughout this presentation. Another question we received was, what is the projected noise level for the realigned portion of County Road 46A? So again, a noise study was performed prior to the construction kicking off during those initial phases. And there were some numbers there that you see on that chart for Red Tail that were identified as being the noise increases that we saw based on the amount of linear feet away from the roadway. So some of those homes that are across the golf course there are more than 1,000 feet away from the roadway. At halfway through, so about to the golf course itself, there was only a 5.6 decibel increase in noise in that case. We included a chart on the right that kind of gives you some comparable noise levels. So 20 decibels would be the rustling of leaves on a tree, all the way up to 115 decibels. That would be what you see from a jet that was flying 500 feet overhead. Another question we received was about the projected traffic volume. The ultimate 2034 projected volume of traffic was 19,880 to about 22,500 vehicle trips per day on average. When that traffic study was done, the 2019 volume of traffic was expected to be 12,830 to 14,510 vehicle trips per day on average. Ultimately, last year, the latest numbers that came in, we averaged about 8,000 trips per day on County Road 46A between State Road 44 and State Road 46. And the estimate given for the amount of truck traffic included in those counts was 11.58%. We received a question about the Federal Highway Administration and their involvement in this project, and the answer to that was yes, they were involved. They've been involved since the PD&E study phase, and in 2012, FHWA issued a finding of no significant impact letter for the Wekiva Parkway projects. FHWA continues to be involved in the project, including site visits and other coordination. And as we shared with you before, there was a landscaping plan developed as part of the project design. As John mentioned, we went out there, we did some ground truthing, and we found opportunities for enhancements. And those were some of the details that we presented to you before these questions we were going over. And again, as John mentioned, those plans are still preliminary. We're still looking at them. Once they're finalized as part of the whole package, we will post those on wekivaparkway.com, the section 5 webpage for this. Now, I know that's a lot of questions or a lot of information to go over. I also want to briefly bring up another list of questions that we received around, I believe it was late yesterday. I'm going to attempt to bring that up on a different window here. Okay, so you should see the list of questions that were received yesterday. We kind of touched on a lot of these already. I'm just going through here the list. We asked for the questions. So I know there were some questions about the landscaping that was planned closest to the front entrance. So I was wondering if maybe Joan could jump on here and talk about these specific species that were going to be planted as closest to the red tail entrance.
Yes, this is Joan. Early in the process, we did have some communication with the homeowners. We had, which had commented on our original landscape plan in front of their subdivision. The response we had is they preferred to go back to magnolias and ligustrum trees, and so our plans were revised to reflect that. I don't know, Nick, if you want to bring up that plan that I'd sent.
Yes, I can bring that back.
And that was at the immediate, those two species were at the immediate frontage of the entrance there. And then behind it, we plugged in some additional oak trees to help fill in those spaces and to give it a wooded look similar to what is there now.
All right, this is giving me trouble pulling up that other window. So let's see if we can address these other ones while I try to do that. There was also some concerns with speed enforcement. Ultimately that is a law enforcement issue. As far as enforcing the posted speed limits, we ensure that the appropriate signage is out there, but ultimately as far as enforcement goes, that is ultimately up to local law enforcement or FHP.
Yeah, Nick, why don't we just go through each one, starting from the top, so we can be sure that we cover everything.
Okay, certainly. So we talked about a sound study in the presentation. We were asked, was there a recent sound study completed? That sound study was completed. Mary, do you recall the year that was? I have it here if we.
I don't have the year off the top of my head.
That was the sound study was completed with projections for the future. Is there a possibility that 46A will become a 4-lane highway? That was the ultimate plan. Ultimately this roadway does get turned back over to Lake County as it is a county road. And that would be done again sometime in the future once the traffic met the needs for that. And again, as of last year, we were actually under the projections that were done. Well, thank you so much then, everyone who was able to join us tonight. We certainly appreciate that. And again, we will be putting this presentation onto our Wekiva Parkway website, wekivaparkway.com. You can find it under the presentation link, or you can also find it on the Section 5 page for Wekiva Parkway. Does anyone else from FDOT or the project team have any additional comments at this time?
Nick, this is John. I would suggest that we also go ahead and take those questions that you were just showing, and let's provide some written responses to all of those questions, and we can make sure that they get back to the people that asked them, and as well as post it there on the website as well. And if you could put up that contact information, I think you have a slide for contact information that would be helpful for the rest of the audience.
Absolutely. This is our contact information. If you'd like to reach us, we have a dedicated hotline for this project. That number is 407-710-5610. info@wekivaparkway.com is our email. And of course, wekivaparkway.com gives you all the information about the project. And we thank everyone for joining us tonight.
Good evening, all.